You and
looking at it.
drop
Yeah, there's a handful in there, and I forgot the 2 packs. Oh, they're okay.
I forgot to bring some, but we can drop some.
Now we're recording.
Welcome to another episode of the American Beer Review Podcast.
Good times with good friends requires good beer. Lucky for us, we know how to pick all three.
We're a group of friends who grew up in the Pacific Northwest, giving us a jump start on our craft beer journey.
Join us today while Brian, I pride myself on not getting to know other people, so do not put that on me.
Alec. So the bananas up until like the 60s were an entirely different species of banana.
And Chad. It hit me like a wrecking ball.
Review some beer, talk about beer topics, and whatever else comes up. We invite you to pour yourself a drink and hang out with us.
All right.
Nice.
We live, and I think the battery's going to stay, so...
It's better than the last time we tried it this way.
I know.
Wait, now batteries, because do we have backups to the backups now? Because did you use the backups?
These were the batteries from last time. I just put 2 fresh ones in. I'm going to bring like 6 more.
Okay, that's what my question was.
But I also recorded like for 4 hours at the racetrack on a couple double A's.
Okay. I just want to make sure that if those are the backups you put in, that we had
Oh, that's cool.
more backups.
QR code and everything works.
I know.
Yeah, it goes straight there, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty smart way to do it so that it makes it simpler for people to
Yes.
find. Talking about our new...
Because then they don't even have to take it. They can just leave it.
True.
Yeah.
Our little fancy coasters. And instead of having like a punching in a website.
Yeah.
I was going to do like all the logos, and I was like, oh, no, that's QR
Too
code.
busy.
I'm going back to my very first job. QR codes had just hit.
Mm.
Nobody knew how to use them, and they went out of favor like
They did.
for a while, and now all of a sudden QR codes are back, baby.
There's a lot of people who are frustrated with them.
From
Like,
a customer-facing standpoint, they are, yeah.
but what do you mean?
Internally, they've gone back to item numbers.
What were they doing before, you mean?
So a lot of people are using QR codes for like tracking product through warehouses.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure some still are. The only irritating thing is your camera will pick up a QR code faster than it will a barcode.
Mm.
So if you're scanning product and it's got a QR code and a barcode,
then you're gonna
you got to put your thumb over the QR code.
Yeah. I'm not entirely against it. I know a lot of people don't like getting your menu through it.
Oh, it's fine.
But I don't mind it at all. Especially like I was at Great Notion, and you just order everything through there. So like
You can order on the app, or no?
the
that's
QR
slick.
code does that.
Yeah.
It's order everything, and then they just bring it out to you, and you just get the option of like close your tab, keep it open.
Give everybody a nice decent pour here.
But you just run through that whole thing, and then when you're just done, you just hit the like close tab.
Nice.
So yeah, you never have to give anyone your card. You don't have to do anything. So
Cool.
But I'm also seeing them, not sidebar anymore, but signing into an app on your TV, and then just throw the QR code up on your phone just to do the login for
Oh, yeah, instead of the text message.
setting up all that stuff.
using your remote to click,
Type in
enter,
your email.
click, enter. Yeah, that's annoying.
All right, we got a beer today. You brought this, Thor, so what are we drinking?
This is another Tavor drop. This is our pre-funk, our old man pre-funk / hydration. This is from Southern Grist Brewing Company. Company Pils, a Pilsner style brew that is non-alcoholic.
Is this our first, other than the hop water? No, we did the
Crux.
NA. We did the Crux. That's right. Okay.
Constantly experimenting with new styles. Sometimes they have a lot of alcohol, sometimes a little, sometimes none. When it comes to asking ourselves if we should brew a non-alcoholic lager, the answer was simple. Why wouldn't we? Our beverages deliver on fun and flavor, whether it has alcohol or not. So that was going to be my next question: is are they an athletic where they only brew NA? But it looks like they're. I'm not familiar with Southern Grist.
Yeah, this is giving me my first
but it looks
sampling
like
as well.
They're not an NA brewery, but this is just an NA offering that they have.
Yeah, because they're out of Wenatchee, Wisconsin, so I'm sure they...
No, they're not. They're in Nashville, Tennessee.
Maybe they.
So that's the difference. Interesting.
Yeah, they are based out of Tennessee, but it looked like this was brewed... This was
I wonder if they have multiple locations or if this is them like
Southern Grist would make more sense.
But they are
In Tennessee,
they are based out of Tennessee, but this was brewed out of Winter.
So that's what I'm saying.
Because they have the state of Tennessee in their logo.
I'm wondering if they like subcontracted it to have like, hey, here's what we want to do. You are better at already doing non-alcoholic stuff, so you can help us through that process instead of.
Or they didn't have to ship it all the way from Tennessee.
Yeah, that's interesting though. I went to some breweries when I was a couple years ago, but I don't think we went here.
It's still Southern Grist Brewing Company in Wanaki.
Yeah.
They might have a couple different locations and they're expanding or something.
Maybe.
And this is just out of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where in like Nashville they are. What in the?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay. They're like.
Yeah, I think that they're like a suburb of Nashville. Last time I looked.
Pilsner style lager with Mandarina Bavaria and Crystal hops. So I have not used Mandarina Bavaria.
No.
Crystal we've used before, or I've had before. So
Yeah, this is kind of like West Nashville a bit, like outside. So, yeah, that's still interesting. I'm gonna check their website to find out a little bit more about.
it's interesting.
I like it.
Interesting good or interesting bad?
No, interesting good. It's
You can tell. It's an NA because there's not that. There'd be a little more.
finish.
Yeah, almost like
Yeah.
it's not. I'm not going to call it syrupy, but there's like a syrupy finish because there's not. There's obviously not as much sugar in this because they didn't need. You couldn't put too much in because you're not.
Fermenting.
Well, or you're taking
Taking it out.
whatever you're doing. That's nice.
Yeah, I would like a little more. Like it almost feels like it just drops off, even though it is a Pilsner. I would like still a little more like.
Lingering mouthfeel.
Yeah, it like hits you with like that crisp of the Pilsner, but then it just kind of like goes flat. And maybe that's where like a little more of like if it was alcoholic with like the malty, like just a touch of malt more, but
Yeah, and probably the mouthfeel of the alcohol would play with it a little different.
but even in a Pilsner, you're not getting a ton of like
Booziness.
yeah.
But Pilsner typically you're going to get a little bit more flavor compared to a light, finger quotes, light lager.
Or American lager, yeah.
So we're getting a little more hops. I'm glad there was that mix of hops because I think that adds some extra layers that help.
Well, and that could be too. I mean, I don't know what the Mandarina
Bavaria.
profile is supposed to be. I don't know where it fits in the scale.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I get citrus. Or am I just hearing mandarin and I'm thinking mandarin orange?
There's a slight hint.
I'm not going to Google it. I'm just going to make it up in my head,
There you go.
per usual.
Yeah, they have two locations that they show, East Nashville and then on Centennial Boulevard, but like nothing about Wisconsin. So it's really interesting. I kind of wonder where that. I have a big feeling it has something to do with it being an NA. It'd be interesting to look at like a non-NA can of theirs and see if it's got any of that same stuff, or it's just like only on the NA ones.
I have them on my Tavor alerts.
Okay.
Because this, I've seen a couple other beverages they've done on Tavor, but they were in the same lane as a couple other we had done. But this popped up, and I was like, oh, that's a nice hole we need to fill in our review.
Yeah, stuff we haven't done a
stuff
ton
we
of.
reviewed.
And I casually looked at had an NA of beer back when we were brewing and went, oh, we're already too sciencey, and I don't feel like doing any more science to get an NA product out of it. Plus, some of our beers turned out basically NA in the first place. But it could be the facility that they're brewing at is set up to do NA beers, so they're renting the space that has all the equipment.
It's interesting to go all the way to Wisconsin for it, but
if it's one beer, are you going to set? I don't know how much equipment is
100%,
needed, but are you going to build that into your infrastructure? Or you just go, you have the space. Here's the recipe. We're in a contract on the space.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
And then it just goes right on I-90 to us.
Yeah.
That's
what else was I going to say? I had something in my head, but I lost it.
Perfect. I love when that happens.
It's usually what happens by the end of the day. That'll happen a lot more.
Yeah. Well, should we? I mean,
I think, so this one is scheduled to go after the next main. So,
never mind. Then, last week we
Ignore
totally
what we were
went
talking
to-
about.
so on our previous episode, we went to Brew 5-3. You guys heard all about this, but now we're talking about how our prep to go to Brew 5-3, because this is going to be airing after.
do we have to? Why don't we just put it before?
We can do whatever we want.
We can't.
Editing.
But a non-NA
There we go.
beer prior to going to a beer festival is probably the smartest decision we have made.
It's one of the few smart decisions we've made.
Oh, we should have done a science experiment, one of us not have it, to see how the palate. If this gets your hops palate going more than.
I think it won't be too bad. I mean, we got a ways. Like this is also perfect because we are meeting up, hanging out, and then going. So like, there is no like, where NA beer before you go drive is kind of like probably the way you should have beer.
I'm not driving,
Well,
and I
that's-
did
yeah.
scope a Ronier in the fridge downstairs. So
Yeah, there's road sodas in the fridge downstairs.
The more I have this,
It's getting better.
Yes,
Yep.
I think so as well. Like it, and part of it is I think it's always that NA like thing. There's always a lack of body. There's always like a lack of like. There's just something that like you can tell that little bit of difference. If you end up being like, well, I only have NA beers, like you're gonna settle into that being the flavor profile that is just what
You get
those beers
accustomed
are.
to,
Yeah. I mean, just like when you started drinking beer, you might have not have been right into certain IPAs or different things or like sours. There is a like acclimation period to getting used to that stuff. That if you're just only drinking NA stuff, this is going to be a great one to end up having to have. Like I said, as we just sat here a little longer, it tastes a little bit better. You're not feeling that like kind of the same fall off that I talked about early on the flavor, and it just kind of like it's a crisp, refreshing.
and there is
like,
a little bit of citrusy.
I did read, I don't know if the can said it, I did read that it said it is less than 100 calories for a 16 ounce. So, I mean, still, I think you can get, 96 calories in a 12 ounce Miller Lite or something? What are the commercials telling me?
I don't know.
Something around
I think,
Ultra.
yeah.
Michelob?
Michelob, it's like, because the Miller Lite commercial was like, for 1 calorie more, you can have better flavor.
Right.
So, like, one of them's like 95 and one's like 96. But I think it's all on a 12-ounce can.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And they're out of those skinny 12-ounce cans, so that even saves more calories because it's a skinny can.
yeah, that's how it works.
Fridge in this? Yep.
Yeah, quality-wise, I mean, it's good. I try to think of, like, I don't think, for me, an NA Pilsner or NA Lager
Fits in the... Yeah.
fits what I'm like. I have, some NA IPAs, or I've done, like, you've done the sours that, like, if I'm gonna drink something that doesn't have alcohol in it, I want a little more flavor.
Right.
I do wonder, maybe if you are somebody who just doesn't drink NA, like doesn't drink alcohol, like is that gonna be, then you're like, oh, I really would like that kind of crisp flavor. Or people who just are really into Pilsners and stuff.
Right.
So I think this is really good. I don't think it's making it in the rotation anywhere for me. Just because, but if they had like a Gosa or a IPA that's NA, I'd be happy to try it and see how I feel about that.
I would beer fridge this because I did beer fridge this because I bought 8 of these.
Oh, okay.
So I bought a 6-pack for myself, 2 for the pod.
Okay.
So I've been sipping on these
Oh.
the last couple weeks.
Well, and I like, I could see this being actually kind of perfect for.
I've been cracking these and putting my feet in the pool.
And that's the thing. It's like it's still it's a flavor that gets you to a mindset. Mm-hmm. You know that you could still end up doing the get off of work, you mow the lawn, and you crack one of these, but yet you have to go to your kid's thing later that day. Like you're now good to go, but you had a beer. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just is that mindset thing. I was also thinking if you're into other sorts of altering mindset.
No, you're not doubling down.
Yeah, this is like the sipper to have.
Well, I've been having this, let the dog get his swim in, mm-hmm. and then I can go work out.
Mm.
So it's not going to weigh you down, even a NA IPA. It's still going to be.
Some of them are
heavy.
Some of them are still that's what really killed me with some of them is I'm like, not only am I getting no
booze.
Alcohol, you're hitting me with 200 calories.
Well, I was thinking more along the feeling.
Oh yeah,
of being weighed down.
Yeah. You have that. I don't know how to describe it, but everyone knows what it is. Sometimes you just have a beer and you go, I can't do anything.
Well, because
I don't want to do anything.
The NA stouts. Have been
Yes.
some of my favorite NA because you almost can't tell the difference, mm-hmm. but you're not going to have a stout and then go to the gym, even if there's no booze in it.
Yeah, it's still kind of hitting you. Yeah, I could see actually. I'm kind of shifting. I probably maybe I should say I should find a place for these in my fridge.
There you go.
Somewhere to rotate them through. Have that just this. This is a better quality than what I would do it for. But you're the end of the night, and when you're well, I guess I'll just have one more light beer. Do yourself an extra favor. Make it an NA one.
Right.
You're not going to know the difference.
Yeah, you're not going to drink a glass of water.
No. But you in the morning will feel better than this. So, where do you got, Alec?
Nah, I don't think I fridge it. I mean, just doesn't fit my spectrum. But
yeah.
I mean, if this came out of a tap and you didn't tell me, if I didn't know it was NA, I don't know that I would pin it as being an NA Pilsner.
Now,
you'd have to run through a few pints and then you'd go,
this is weird. Yeah, where's my buzz?
There's a new light beer challenge.
Yeah, which one's NA?
You do what do you think? 1 out of 3, 50-50, 2 out of 4, and there's 2 are NAs, 2 are nots, and you got to figure out what's what. I mean,
nowadays, because 5 years ago, the NAs were all terrible.
You could Klausthaler IPA,
but even a O'Doul's, whatever Bush.
They were just they were a skunky hop water.
You could pin them just being.
Yeah, there's a new beer challenge though. Blind taste testing a few.
Which one has booze in it?
Yeah, I mean,
and there's enough variety now. All of a sudden, you could run through a Pilsner, an IPA, and a stout, and a full diesel version of each, and then you have to figure it out.
One of each, a light beer, like an IPA, and a stout. One has alcohol, one does not, and you got to do
1-to-1
the flight. Yeah.
If you didn't know the companies going in,
you got to have somebody. You got to have somebody just blind. You got to have like we did for the.
Yeah, but we knew what the 3 brands were. You'd have to go because you go. All right. Well, I know this is a crux.
Right. But you need like I'm gonna send my wife to the store. Go to the single can section. Look for anything that says IPA and NA. If it's a hazy, get a hazy. You gotta. Mm-hmm. There has to be some specificity to it because I can't you give me the Klausthaler IPA compared to freaking hazy whatever. I'm gonna know which one has but there needs to be some a little bit more specificity to the process, but it needs to be legit blind
don't know the brands, don't know.
Nope, don't know anything about them.
Just style, and then look at it.
Yeah, the only downside would be I just think there's some that do better NAs than others.
Yep.
So that would be the tough part. Is no, this still is just kind of a
not very good beer.
Yeah. So
that would be the trick.
What? Get a bad IPA.
Just get a bad IPA. and compare it against a real good NA IPA.
Yeah, I mean the Crux ones, like I'd take some of those.
Yeah, we have a height lager versus this that I would go.
True.
Right?
Yeah. God, I still remember that. Whatever the light.
Height on the plane hits different.
It's the altitude.
Yeah.
There was still some light beer. I remember being in Fairhaven years ago that I ordered, and I was just like, man, I do not want this anymore. I can't remember what it was though.
All right. Well,
Mine's empty.
Yeah, our NA glasses are empty.
Crushed.
Yeah.
Hopefully yours are too, and we'll have a lot more not non-alcoholic beers here in just a little bit. So we'll catch you next time.
If you are picking up what we were putting down, please like and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. And reach out to us at A Beer Review on social media if you have a beer you would like us to review.